Greetings, ones and zeros, zeros and ones, boys and girls that are now men and women, kings and queens, gods and goddesses, spiritual beings of this matrix. Welcome. My name is Clay. Today's topic of the share that I'm giving is called Love Frequency, a beginning story for fear. And particularly in this share, I'm seeing where I am going to speak primarily from the emotional body. And I'm saying primarily from the emotional body as today I had an experience, and I'm I'm trusting that this is coming off of the full moon in Cancer that we just have in this manifestation season. And the emotions that is coming through me, that came through me today, is that I discovered or uncovered a part of my body that I was not aware of, and that is the emotional body. And that emotional body is is coming through the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is relating to the 2-year-old. And the 2-year-old, the sacral chakra, is relating to the emotional body, the emotions. It's relating to energy in motion. It's relating to that portal, that doorway, that energetic body of the human that is relationally responsible for creation. Right? So today I expounded in my awareness in that aspect of my body where I discovered that, or uncovered that, anxiety lives on this sacral or on this emotional body. And when I looked it up on Google, it said that the relation that it has to do with the gut-brain relationship. So as the sacral chakra, as the emotional body, the energetic body of the emotional body is relational to the anxiety aspect of fear, then the solar plexus, which is the mental body, which is the 3-year-old, is responsible for the depression. So whenever you feel depression, it's coming through the identity body, it's coming through the solar plexus body, right? Now, how does that relate to the love frequency? And how does that relate to the beginning of the fear story? This is a story that I'm giving, right? A story that has come through me, as it could have come through anyone else who tapped into the frequency. I'm seeing that this love story is really the origin of all things. So as the love story, as the love frequency is the origin of all things, it came to me that as love, I created fear. As love, being love, I am love. And because I am love, I created fear to have the experience of fear, to have the experience of using fear to know myself, to know what love is. And this is similar in a certain sense to when it says in the Bible that man created, or God created man in our image. Come, let us create man in our image. So love said, come, let us create fear in our image. which automatically means that it is an inverse reality. So when you're in fear, you look at certain things, right? When you're in fear, you see that which is love and you call it fear. A person who is in fear, actively in fear, sees love and calls it fear, because they don't know, or I shouldn't say they don't know, they're not aware that what they're looking at is love. But they do know, because we all know. Every human being who is tapped into their soul body and their soul body connected to their spirit knows what love is. There's not a human being who is having a soul and whose soul is connected to their spirit who doesn't know what love is. It's the awareness, right? So because they're not aware that they're in fear, they use their brain, they use their lower ego, their lesser ego, to identify what they believe is going to keep them safe. And as they do this, they see love and are threatened by love. And it's a very simple thing to understand and overstand when you're not in fear. When you're in fear, your brain may logisticize it. However, embodying it is a whole different thing. You're going to present a whole lot of reasons as to why this is not true. First and foremost, one of the things you're going to look at is you're going to say, I must eat to survive, or I must defend myself. And then certain things come into play, such as survival of the fittest and so on and so forth. You have the colonial mentality, the colonized mentality that will come into play. And the colonized mentality is a mentality of an enslaved mind. And I'm reminded that in this era, the colonized mentality has been propagated by the white race of people. And this is not to say that the lower ego did not exist before the white race of people. It's to say that the way that we think of a colonized mind, the way that we think of slavery, the way that we think of a slave, is primarily coming through the colonized mind, the colonized mentality, the colonized civilization. Now I want to go forward to Kemet. In Kemet, it was understood, it is understood, and I have to correct myself from saying it was, because it is understood. I am my ancestors. As a result of me being my ancestors, I am present in every moment. My ancestors is present in every moment. There is no past. There is no future. There is only the present. There is only now. So, as it is in Kemet, the lower ego is a mind that is colonized. The lower ego is a mind that is enslaved. And it is known in Kemet that when a person operates according to the lower mind, according to the lower ego, they are a slave. In today's terminology, that person is being a slave. They are not a slave, they are being a slave. They are asleep. They are being asleep. They are being zombies, to use today's terminologies, to translate. Right? Now, what is that saying? That brings up a whole way of thinking, a whole way of understanding. And one of the things to understand based on that understanding is that there are certain things that are understood today in this colonized world that was not the understanding in the days of Kemet. And one of those things is, for example, there was no such thing as an orphan. There was no such thing as an orphan. You did not have armies. There was no need for armies. And I'm talking about the golden age. And as I'm talking about the golden age, I'm reminded of the cycle, the cyclical nature of things, the cyclical nature of life that spirals, right? Because life spirals, it does not go in a circle. When you go in a circle, that is stagnation and devolution. When you go in a circle, that is stagnation and devolution. Things spiral naturally, infinitely, into greater and greater life. So, in Kemet, it is understood that life propagated continuously. And as life propagates continuously, life make room for those who choose to have a fearful experience. And this is the golden age. Now, coming off the golden age, you go into a descent, right? And we are currently going in an ascent. And the golden age occurs approximately for 6,000 years, right? Coming out of the golden age, as I was saying, you go into a descent. And we came out of a descent recently. Now let me go forward to this understanding of the cycle of life, or a cycle of life that exists in the earth. There's a 24,000 year cycle that exists on the earth. There is a 24,000 cycle that exists on earth, and some people reference the Kali Yuga. And this knowledge is particularly preserved in the Indian set of people, the Sanskrit people. I'm not entirely sure if I should be saying the Sanskrit people, the Vedic people, the Indian people, the people of India. They kept good records of this way of life, the 24,000 year of life. Now, one of the signs that erupted recently to signify a 12,000 year cycle is the volcano in Ethiopia, what is now called as Ethiopia. It wasn't always called Ethiopia. Today it is called Ethiopia. The volcano in Ethiopia hasn't erupted for the past 12,000 years, and it recently erupted, I believe in December at some point. That is to signify a certain cyclical nature of things, right? So now, and these are things that a person who is interested in, what I am saying, this modality of healing that I am expressing for the human being, right? This modality of healing that I am expressing for the human being in my avatar is not for everybody, because everybody did not come to have this experience of enlightenment in this era, in this time. We are in the age of the Aquarius, in the beginning stages of the Aquarius. This is also the beginning of the Iron Age, coming out of, the beginning of the Bronze Age, coming out of the Iron Age, off of the Kali Yuga, right? Because before, let me go forward to this, the Golden Age, and coming out of the Golden Age, you have the Iron Age. Then after the Iron Age, you have the Bronze Age. Then you have the Silver Age. And then you go back into, or you go forward into the Golden Age again. This is the cyclical nature, the 24,000 years cycle of life. And there are different names, terminologies for this cycle. For example, the golden age is also known as spirit. The iron age, I believe, and don't quote me on this, the iron age is the ego age. The bronze age is this part I'm sure of. The bronze age is the silver age is the mental age. The bronze age is the emotional age, or not emotional, energy age. And before that, it was the ego age. So see, the ego age is the densest. So we are coming out of the densest age, going into the energy age right now, in the age of Aquarius. So in this age, nothing is a secret to those who are enlightened to the truth that we created fear. To the truth that fear is false, an acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. This false evidence appearing real has different terminologies throughout the ages. One of the popular terminologies, if it is understood, is considered a demon. You could call it a density, you could call it a trauma, you could call it a wound, right? Fear is these synonyms. Fear are these synonyms: trauma, demon, wound, sin, forgetfulness, ignorance. These are fear-based energy signatures. And as these are fear-based energy signatures, a person who is traversing these planes and in the modality of awakening or healing themselves, healing their mental mind onto their soul and their soul onto their spirit, should look into these things. So as I was saying earlier, that what I am saying is not for everyone. What I am saying is not for the person who is looking to have a fearful experience. What I'm saying is for the person who is looking to come out of that fear, the person who is looking to traverse the planes of fear into the frequencies of love. Check out the 24,000 year cycle on Earth, and you will begin to see certain things. Now, one of the dominant, not even one of the dominant, the dominant force as a trauma propagating device on Earth is Christianity, or I should say religion. And within religion, the dominant force is Christianity, coming out of the box of the Romans, who took over from the Greeks as the Greeks invaded Kemet and renamed Kemet into Egypt. So today it is challenging on Google to find references to Kemet. You have to directly put in Kemet, otherwise they tell you about ancient Egypt. And once you mention ancient Egypt, you're referencing Greek terminology, which you're not referencing the golden age, you're not referencing originality, you're not referencing source, you're referencing someone who is hiding source, you're referencing a trauma, right? So in handling a trauma, it is best to go directly into the trauma and see what led to the trauma so that you can overcome the trauma. For example, in my case, my trauma that I experienced in 2020 is a schizophrenic break. Now, as I had that schizophrenic break, I went into the schizophrenic break with a humble heart, with humility. And as I went into the schizophrenic break with a humble heart, with humility, as I planned it according to as I said earlier on, I am love. And as love, I create fear. Now, in humbling myself to see that I am love, I saw that it was befitting for me to see what is this fear that I created, to have the experience of overcoming the fear. And one of the major inputs, or one of the major soul contracts that was put into my journey, is that of my partner, who herself is a spiritual being, who could, because she is also in her soul contract, doing her soul work, she could provide healing to me as per our soul contract, because we are love. And as we are love, we create fear. And as we are love who created fear, we create the story of fear and how fear must operate. Because fear is a default mechanism. Fear does not respond, fear reacts. Going forward now to an understanding of healing, that I'm saying to all the ones of the earth, all the humans of the earth, that the time for healing is now. We're in the age of the Aquarius. We're in the ascent, going into from the Bronze Age, which is the energetic age. We are going into the age of mental. Also, that is something within Kemet, more popularized by, I believe, Hermes, who is the Greek. They say Hermetic principles, all is mental. That is coming from the Greek. That is not the Greeks, my apologies. That is coming from Kemet. So we are now coming into the energetic age, going into the age of the mental, and this is going to take, from my calculation, about another 2,000, maybe 3,000 years. So this is not something that is going to happen in this lifetime unless you become present. As you become present, you experience the presence of the gifts that you gave yourself as you were love creating fear. Now, going forward to what I was saying about the age, what I was saying about the age and what I was saying about healing. This is the age of healing, and we are all here to heal. I am particularly appealing to the healers, and those who are healers are primarily going to be, for one, as a race of people, it's going to be the more melanated people. And within the melanated people, as a gender of people, it's going to be the woman, because the woman is closer to the nurturing capabilities. Just like as a race of people, the melanated people are more nurturing. That is not to say, that is not to give an excuse, let me make this abundantly clear. That is not to give an excuse for the less melanated people to not heal themselves, or to think that they are not here to heal themselves. Everybody is here to heal themselves. That is the contract that we came here to exhibit. However, in coming here to exhibit as an exhibition, the healing modality, there is the proponent of choice. And when you have the proponent of choice, you can do whatever you want. You know? You can do whatever you want. That is a staunch or a stark reality to deal with, to handle. Every man have a right to decide their own destiny. And that is something that I, as an enlightened being, choose to respect. As all enlightened beings must choose to respect that. If you don't choose to respect a person's choice, then you are not an enlightened being. You cannot be. Not to say that you can't make mistakes. Of course, I make mistakes. And when I find that judgment of a mistake, I correct it. When I find it, when I detect it, when I detect that judgment of a mistake, I correct it. Now, as I was saying, coming out of this full moon in Cancer, in this manifestation season, I am seeing that my awareness is expanding, and with great gifts comes great accountability. With great gifts comes great accountability. So I am also saying that, for example, when this transmission that I am putting into this device, into this phone is complete, I'm going to watch this device again. I'm going to watch this transmission again to rewire my mental mind. Because some of what I am saying, and I'm sharing it publicly, everybody should know this, some of what I am saying is escaping my mental mind because I'm transmuting emotionally. I'm transmuting emotionally, bypassing the logical brain. Because the brain is so egoic at times. The brain is filled with parasites. The brain is very egoic. The ego is a parasite. The ego is colonial in its activities because the ego is designed to protect bullshit. The ego is designed to protect fear, the lesser ego, the misappropriated ego, not the divine ego. The divine ego is there to manifest divine instructions. So that is one of the things to make clear as I am delivering these messages. Oftentimes I don't make the distinction between the misappropriated ego and the ego, and one has to understand that in context of how it is that I'm speaking. These are the things that are oftentimes not translatable or transferable. It doesn't translate phonetically. You have to see that it translates energetically. So there is trust and there's faith and there's knowing, because knowing is faith. With a proper understanding, we know in faith. Faith is the bridge, the unknown. And then once it becomes known, it is no longer faith. However, when one is in an enlightened state, the wisest man knows that he knows nothing at all. So that which is known can change. Change is the only constant, yet still it will remain the same. Yet still in humility, harmony prevails. So you see that faith is that unknown. And belief is a tricky thing. A person can speak the word belief or believe and actually exhibit knowing, because words are material and one has to see the energy behind the words. So belief is oftentimes containing a doubt. And that is something for ones to consider also. Because a person can speak the word that I know, and you see that this person does not know. This person actually believes using the word I know. So this is the energetic age where nothing is hidden. When a one has gone into the depths and into the mirror clay, they would say, and come out and they shine and beautify and bloom like a lotus flower in the mud. They know what it is to transmute some bullshit. Right? Now, that takes me into what I mentioned earlier, which is something regarding the there was a time when there was no orphan. There was a time when there was no old folks home. John Henry Clark. I'm seeing it clearly now as an ancestor, as I am my ancestor in Kemet. There was a time when there was no divorce. There was a time when there was no hospital. Not as it is understood today, because everything is understood from a perspective that when you see it manifests first in spirit, and it is something to transmute. So people didn't allow things to get into a state where you have maggots or parasites in the body. That is the golden age. You don't allow parasites in the body because you detect it from in the soul. And your spirit make the correction from in the soul. That is how humble you are. Things don't manifest as diseases in the body. Therefore the body shines. The body glows as a representation of that which is spirit. So now, one of the things that I see as a often misunderstood is that how can it be that there are so many creation stories? How can it be that there are so many beginnings? Beginning really is an egoic point, and there is room for divine ego. Many divine ego. Even though it's one divine ego, there are many flowers in the fields of the forest or in the plains. And all these flowers have a sacred geometric origin. This too is how Africa got populated in terms of its varying tribes, you could say, our nations, our peoples. And each people had their own story of creation. And there were and are beautiful story in the development or the uncovering of the feminine way of doing things, of the matriarchal way of doing things. And the colonial mindset would see a man or a king or a chief at the head and say this is patriarchy. And that is a colonized mindset, not understanding that the women, the feminine representative, place that chief, that king, that man at the head with instruction, and that man humble himself and continue to carry out those instructions. So it appears patriarchal to the colonized mindset, the one who is looking for power, the one who is constantly looking for power, not understanding, understanding, overstanding that they have power. They have power in love. That is the only place that power dwells, in love. That is why the misappropriated ego is always seeking control, because it has fear and it is designed to protect fear. So a lot of people will not understand, overstand, and understand that you could have so many different peoples, and they are all spiritual peoples with no warfare. No warfare. No divorce. No old folks home. No abandonment. No rejection. No bullshit. Transmuting fear. Nobody is kicked out of the tribe. Nobody is kicked out of the nation. Nobody is kicked out of their peoples. Nobody is kicked out of their generation. Nobody is left without a husband. Nobody is left without a wife, so to speak. Nobody is left without a partner. Because we understood soul contracts and why it is that we came here on earth to have an experience in unfolding that soul contract in a loving way. These are my exfoliation, unfolding of a love frequency coming through a story of the beginning of fear, as I created fear. Now, talking about the emotional body, and another aspect of understanding those who choose to awaken and remain awake, those who choose to thrive as opposed to survive. Another aspect of healing is the chakra system. The chakra system is a beautiful system designed by or unfolded, because we all design it, unfolded by our ancestors. In Kemet, we call them Sekhem Ras. And in the body, in the immediate physical body, there are 7 chakras. There is, from the genital area, there's the root chakra. The navel has the sacral chakra. Right above that is the solar plexus, that's the identity. Then there's the heart chakra. Then there's the throat chakra. There's the third eye chakra. There's the crown chakra. Those are the 7 in the immediate body. And then above the crown chakra is the soul star chakra. And below the feet in the earth is the earth star chakra. That is the 9 chakra system. And that is how it is that we are also 9 ether beings. And anyone who is interested in healing, maintaining a healing, according to my ancestors, these are tools that are there to understand your avatar, and for your avatar to connect with your soul, and for your soul to connect with your spirit. Another set of devices, tools to use, is to work on trauma. You talk about inner childhood trauma, generational trauma, ancestral trauma, and cosmic trauma. These are things that open doorways, open pathways. These are fear catchers, you could say, fear harborers, because every human being has a mother. So every human being is a child. And as a child, you have a mother. That is your generation. You generated from that mother. And that mother have a mother. So that mother have an ancestral aspect. And that ancestral aspect must be informed by the celestials. Because you're here to have an observation and make a practice according to that observation. And that observation is in the celestial. That is why in Kemet we say, as above, so below, as within, so without. Because there are certain things that as you look inward, you're going to see the mirror reflected outward. For example, Orion's belt. The 3 wise men. The Trinity. Aset, Asar, and Heru. In religion called Christianity, they talk about the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, which there's perversion there. In that system, there's perversion. Yet still, with the proper lens, one can see the truth in any perversion. As I mentioned earlier, the lotus flower comes from the depths of the muddy waters. So as terrible as Christianity is, and it is terrible, because Christianity is the development of terrorists. As terrible as it is, the truth can be seen within what they call the Bible, which is a colonial book. And we have to keep in mind that we ask for such a book. In the creation story, there is nothing that is created that we did not create. We are omniscient beings. Everywhere there is a where, we are there. Every book that is created, we participate in it. As African beings, we knew this before. As spiritual beings, we know that there is nothing that exists that we are not. So even as King James, a homosexual, rewrote the colonial book, there is truth in it, because that is a traumatized being who is rehashing trauma in his own way, according to what we allow him to do, because we are all one. Ubuntu, I am because we are. As a Jamaican, I say what fear can't be unfair. To quote scientific terminology, according to the colonialist science, they say energy is neither created nor destroyed. According to the Christian Bible, the Christian book, it says God is omniscient, or God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. It's omni, it's everywhere. And as I said earlier, I am love. I am God. I created fear. There's no place that I am not there. There's no place that you are not there. With a proper understanding, understanding, overstanding, these are things that clears pathways of trauma. And as you clear pathways of trauma with these knowledge, the lower self, the lower ego will seek to protect and want to be king of Zamunda, so to speak. Want to be the man at the top of the hill, not recognizing that there is no hill, because physicality is illusion, is an illusion. As I said before, fear, the acronym, false evidence appearing real. We are here to have an experience in dispelling fear, in conquering fear, in recognizing that fear is not there. We are here to have an experience in knowing evil. And when you know evil, you know that death is an illusion. Death is a transition. And we come here as spiritual beings to have this experience over and over again according to our choosing, because there are other realms of existence. The earth is not the only realm of existence. Now that is for another discussion, another unveiling. Possibly not even in this lifetime. At least not for me. I am here in this particular lifetime to unseat the demon and have an experience of humility, particularly in a family arrangement, particularly with a woman partner, to heal that ego. As I mentioned before, this is my 7th incarnation. And I am fully aware of those incarnations. And I gain the details of that incarnation according to the alignment in my soul, according to the alignment in my spirit. Judgment, according to the colonial mindset, is a fear-based initiative. Having judgment, holding prejudice, being a racist, unforgiveness, which means that you did not give it forward. which means that you are trapped somewhere in the past. Forgiveness is to give it forward, which is to be present. To be present is to acknowledge that you are a gift. Acknowledge that you're a gift of the infinite source of being, love. And nothing threatens love in the eyes of love. And this is what I was talking about earlier on, particularly relating to that inverse reality where when a person is in fear, they see love as fear. So love has no opposer. However, the fear mentality will see love as an opponent, whereas love sees fear as a complement. It is something to be transmuted. So going to the emotional body that I became aware of, seeing that I am sensing things bigger than this. I'm sensing a presence in my awareness that is bigger than my physical being. I'm sensing an awareness. I'm sensing, how do you say this now? I'm sensing an awareness. At this moment, I do not have another word better than awareness. I am sensing an awareness bigger than my physical avatar. And it includes an emotional body. It includes an identity body. Coming from the chakra system, let me start from the genital area. Let me start from the root area. There's a thriving body. There's an emotional body. So the thriving body can be confused with the survival body of the root chakra. There is an emotional body in the sacral chakra. There is an identity body in the solar plexus chakra. There is a heart body in the heart chakra. There's an expression body in the throat chakra. There's an intuitive body in the third eye chakra. There is an acceptance or allowance body in the crown chakra. There is your sovereign body of the soul star chakra. And there's your earth body in your earth star chakra. So these bodies are not visible with the five senses, not to my awareness. This is, you're talking about having a certain sense of understanding of your body, of your avatar, of your merkaba, of your spirit body. Because then there's the spirit body also. Of your ship, your starship. As we are all star beings. We all came, so to speak, from the stars. Because there is no coming from anything, nor going to anything. As I made a post earlier on, it is commonly referred to in mathematics. I remember having this in school, and they were talking about the straightest, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And it came to me the other day, what is the shortest distance between birth and 44 years old? It's a spiral. It's growth. It's wisdom. There is no distance. So you see that time don't exist. Not in the colonialist mindset. Time is something to be respected, to have the experience of exposing that time. and having the humility to pioneer that time for that experience. Reporting back to the mothership the instructions that you left there to give to yourself here. Recognizing that the known is unknown. So these are the explorations of my merkaba. These are the explorations of my avatar that I'm encountering in these days, in these hours. And I'm reminded that even the word hour, meaning the H-O-U-R, hour, meaning time, 1 hour, is coming from the Greek understanding of horos. And as it is coming from the Greek understanding of horos, it is based in physicality. Because before horos, there was heru, which is the enlightened aspect of the human. And the enlightened aspect of the human understands that even within the hour, there is 666, there's the beast. As I said before, 666 within the hour is 60 minutes. And then there's 60 seconds. And then there's a third of a second, which is 666. So within the hour, within the Greek understanding of an hour, which they name after their understanding of the god Heru, they call Horus, there's 666. So there's misunderstanding in their understanding. So these are some of the rewiring of my mental that I am doing. And as I am doing these rewiring of these mental, at times it is challenging to accept the pathway that I have delineated, or the pathway that I have set forth to traverse in this age of Aquarius, to have this beautiful experience of being in the love frequency, seeing those who choose not to be in the love frequency, and feeling their pain, feeling their trauma, seeing their pain and feeling their trauma being reflected through my pain and my trauma, as I am being a sacrifice to myself, and in being a sacrifice to myself, having the reward of clearing my trauma. So as I am a sacrifice to myself and having the reward of clearing my trauma, those who choose not to do the same reflect unto me, and as such, they are having a reward of looking into my mirror as a sacrifice. These are the dynamics, these are the inverse reality, because they will see what it is that I am saying, and they will hear what it is that I am saying, and not be able to listen to the truth of what it is that I am saying. And so again, there will be the inverse reality, because I will be seen as seen and they will be seen, I will be seen as insane and they will be seen as seen. As most Christians look at people who do not trust into the Bible, who do not trust into the one they call Christ, Jesus Christ, or Yeshua the Christ. oftentimes people who are Christians seeing those who are non-Christians as crazy people, as infidels. Those are the people who will go to hell, as they will say. Not understanding that hell is what you make it. So like minds, share the message, comment on the message. Let us have a conversation in the comment section. If there's something else I can expound upon, if there's something that you would like to speak about, we can exchange emails and then phone numbers, because we are here to build a community. We are here to communicate in a like-minded way. So like, comment, subscribe, share the message. And even, you see, I'll even that word subscribe. It is not even to subscribe. It is to come in alignment. And not even to come in alignment. It is to be in alignment. Now the human thing to do with the technology, according to their terminology, is to subscribe. However, I do not subscribe. I find alignments. I choose alignments being based on my soul alignments. And the thing to do with the technology is to hit the subscribe button, understanding that those little things are spells. Like, what is there to like? These are demonic terminologies. So even as I ask that you do these things, be aware that these terminologies are spells. They are based in trauma. They are based in a colonial mindset. Now, having the appreciation that the colonial mindset has no originality, all they can do is copy. All the colonial mindset can do is copy. And I know this very well because that is all I used to do as an architect. I used to copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And they tell me that, oh, you're a very good copy paster. And this looks original. Right? Because they taught me, I was indoctrinated. So be aware with these terminologies. Like, comment, subscribe. Right? If you're in alignment, then be in alignment and with a clear conscience and a clean heart. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for notification too. Because that way you get updates whenever I make the messages. And with that, I'm going to thank all my subscribers so far, all the people who have come in alignment, and all those people who have commented and who we have a conversation with. It has been a joy to have conversations with like-minded people, to resonate with my soul contract people, because this is what it's all about. This is why I came to earth, to have this experience. So I thank you all for doing the brave thing, you know, and reaching out. And I implore you to continue to do so as you do your own soul work and see me do my own soul work. Encourage me to do my own soul. Full courage. Full courage me to do my own soul work as I full courage you to do your own soul work. As we traverse this plane of the 3D, 5D interaction that is the demonic and angelic interaction, transmuting the demonic realm into angelic flows so we can all bloom and have a beautiful experience. And this is where I say, Ashe, Amen and Namaste. Each one, reach one, teach one.